it's time to go hunting a bite-sized vlog out of a movie that, well, I was half and half wanting to see it, although the circumstances that I got into it is kind of like different. And that one is none other than Kraven the Hunter. It's true story is that I did have plans to watch it, but regularly, but unfortunately there were some certain circumstances that hold me back, especially in this season, in which kind of is like the some of the busiest season of the year in terms of trying to find a gift for everyone, or you had some other stuff, appointments to go through. I'm not gonna go exactly into details, but I kind of missed the point, the date. I mean, I didn't watch it like at the same time as everyone else, but I was hearing kind of like the reviews, but I didn't see the reviews completely because I was kind of like planning something, and the reviews weren't good, and I was like, what do you expect? It's from that awful universe that you guys wanted to go through ever since there you were misled by easily excited people who actually like the Venom movies, which they all suck. And honestly, I was kind of like not into it. So then I decided to watch a particular movie that I will review later, but the one that I got, because of my scheduling, I had to wait until nighttime to wait, and there was a lot of free time, so I had decided to pick another movie in order to make time for it, and that movie in particular was, of course, Kraven the Hunter. Because honestly, I think that going through Kraven the Hunter, it was one of the three deadly poisons that I had to choose between. Well, there's that Lord of the Rings animated movie, which I heard it sucks, and of course, there's Mufasa. But honestly, I got a lot of movies that are in my bottom list of worst movies, and I think that, well, it's obvious that Mufasa is going to be one of the worst easily, and but still, giving my money for Mufasa, is a greater evil compared to giving the money to Sony and to create all these awful movies out. I've been hearing rumors that this is gonna be the last, and you know what? I don't believe it. I don't believe this is gonna be the last. Because as long as there's people still supporting the Venom movies, they still think that they have a chance, and that kind of proves the stupidity of that. But still, Kraven the Hunter, I was honestly never anticipating that movie. Almost like I was honestly praying that it never goes through, but it went through. And I never had hope with that, and honestly I did put my nail on the coffin, especially after Madame Web, so much to the point that I was never interested to even watch the last Venom movie, and a good thing I didn't hear good things about it. But while waiting, I still had to watch the Kraven movie, and you can tell that the movie had the potential to be boring when I just slept the first 12 minutes. Not just because I was tired and I ate some good plate of ramen noodles and ichiran, but man, even when I was awake and managed to focus a lot of this movie, God, it was awful. And I can't say hilarious awful like many people could want to defend it. No, that movie wasn't even hilarious. To the benefit of the doubt, I will say that cinematographically wise, and if this movie is a little bit better than Madame Web, but that's not saying much. This movie is just still awful. So for starters, Kraven the Hunter, he's a Spider-Man villain. They tried to make him, give him a sympathetic life in order to go into the league of, well, Morbius and Venom, and of course it doesn't work. Oh yeah, And honestly, I can agree that this is a little bit less boring than Morbius, but that doesn't say much. We have with this Venom, Madam Web, and Morbius. They're basically almost like the four horsemen of the apocalypse. That, you know what? There are four. And these four are made movies. So yeah, these are the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Yeah. So, okay, back to Kraven. I don't know much about the guy. I'm not exactly kind of like a reader. I only know him for the bits that I see him in the animated series. But from what I know is that he's an animal hunter and wants to hunt Spider-Man. I don't know much about him. But according to the movie, he is a guy named Nikolai. He has a brother named Dimitri. They both live with his father, who is played by Russel Crowe, who is kind of like this mafia, this criminal leader. Who he goes with this fake Italian voice and saying like I want to be, you have to be strong. The weak die, or some bullshit BS things to make him look like he's the bad father and all that stuff. And then after certain circumstances, well, Nikolai, who turns into Kraven, he called himself Kraven later for no reason. It doesn't explain how he gets the name Kraven. He just, he apparently gets powers. I'll get to that. And then he kind of gets the power to be kind of like this superpower hunter guy with agility, big vision, and all this stuff. And well, he gets a list and he tries to kill criminals because he said, I just kill criminals. But little that he knows that his actions also take the attention of another guy who is kind of like one of his father's enemies, who is basically the Rhino, who is another Spider-Man villain. And then comes another villain, and which it puts the brother, who is a little bit of a wimp, into problems and all this stuff. And God, you know what? I don't want to say much about the acting and all this stuff because these actors, you can tell that they have no charisma. They just look bored or just do what they do with the line. And even the guy who plays Kraven, he feels like he is into it. And all these characters, they suck. They're so bland, and even the attempts of humor, they kind of doesn't work about how not aren't in it. People are saying that Fred Fetchiger as the little brother is kind of like the only shining thing, but it's mostly because his wimpy attitude kind of gets some sense of light into it, and probably he's kind of like the most pitiful of all the characters. There's also this other Spider-Man character named Calypso, who I know that she's a voodoo magician, but they make her kind of like a lawyer with voodoo stuff, and you can tell that they shoehorn in this character to say like, hey, I look good, and this character, my God, she connects with one of the most BS pacings of how you get superpowers there is, because imagine how Kraven gets his powers is stupid. For starters, he gets attacked with a CGI lion. And and not only that, this is probably one of the worst CGI you could ever see. The animals look atrocious. It's at the same level as the Mufasa movie. I haven't seen the Mufasa movie, but you can tell by the trailer that it looks exactly as awful as it is. And he gets attacked by the CGI lion, that it drags him out, and apparently, and then the lion basically is hurt because of the gunshot that he received from Russel Crowe. And then he drags their main character into far away. And then Calypso, when she was a little girl, shows up. And because she received from her voodoo mother kind of like this potion, she's like, and she received this tarot card that say that, hey, there's gonna be a typical strain. They're kind of like an exposition. She finds the lion. She gives her, I'm gonna give this complete stranger this water so it can heal and stuff like that. And apparently, this water also also gets combined by the blood of the lion, and this is how he gets his power. And you know what? The guy gets adapted to his powers immediately. No pacing whatsoever. This is how he gets it, and then a lot of scenes kind of like go with almost like with this really slow and atrocious thing, that so much that the action scenes and the R-rated action scenes, they basically nothing. I also had the annoyance that I got some of the audience that they kind of laugh at even the most cringy of jokes, I'll say. Luckily, they're not as cringy annoying as Madame Web, but it almost gets into that. But, and by the way, yes, they're villains, and they wanted to shoehorn in as much as possible. Like, for example, the Russel Crowe character himself is a villain, but they kind of have like this stupid decision to say, dude, at this point, you gotta kill the guy, but they don't. Apparently because the movie wanted to shoehorn saying that, you're my father and I still love you despite how shitty you treat me. And Russel Crowe really was terrible and all this stuff. It kind of like he doesn't deserve it. He had the opportunity to slash him, but doesn't. And it just he just killed off by the remains of the remnant. He just, let's say that he got Leonardo DiCaprio. I don't care if I spoil or something like that. Then they wanted to showcase that the main villain is of course Rhino, in which unlike, I think the original guy is kind of like this big brute in a big rhino suit, or instead like that other terrible movie, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, they want to make a guy in a mechanical suit that looks like a rhinoceros. This one, they made it worse. They have this guy who apparently has one scene in which he makes kind of like a noise that he's gonna cough on some hairball, but the way he dresses and he looks, and apparently the guy said that, hey, I know this scientist who he treated me because I have an incurable disease and now I have to carry this kind of like this little backpack on my belly that when I disconnect it makes my body harder or something like that. But the way he dresses and looking with the backpack, he kind of looked like he almost kind of looks like the angry video game nerd combined with the fanatic from that, what was it, John Travolta movie. Kind of looking like so ridiculous. But then in my head, I was thinking of a comparison. That guy kind of looked like what will happen if you groom and thin Boogie 2988. That's how pathetic that guy is. And then at the climax of the movie, he gets killed ridiculously, no explanation, and somehow he gets to grow horns. No reason explained. No reason explained. Oh, and there's also a guy named the Foreigner who apparently has the power that he takes off his sunglasses and then he freezes time and he just counts to 3 so he can do whatever he wants. It's almost like the time skip of Dragon Ball, but lamer. And the way he gets taken out is the most unceremoniously insulting way there is. And it's just because they wanted to showcase that character saying, hey, look, I'm all powerful, something like that. Dialogue really, again, I say that how terrible that dialogue is. So it's pretty bad. I think one of them, it was like saying that my grandmother died and I never seen her again. Okay, what's with that? Oh my god, and yeah, it doesn't feel resolved so much that there's not even a post-credit scene. I think that, and you know what, I think I covered enough to say that Kraven the Hunter wasn't even worth my time, and I just crossed my finger that that they commit to say that this is the last of them. This is such a money waster. And if you think that Sony is over with the Spider-Man movies, they're not. Well, mostly the Spider-less Spider-Man movies, but they still have a little bit the overrated Miles Morales movies. So, congratulations, Sony. You still got the rights of these guys. You are on my naughty list.